What's going on, guys? In this video, I want to talk about the difference between email marketing. And so if you're kind of new to email marketing, you might think, well, aren't those really the same things? An email newsletter, an essential part of email marketing, and then talk about, so first of all, email marketing is really, and it can be used at different places throughout the buyer's journey or throughout, you're going to have customers who are existing customers. And then again, some emails are going to be more like top of funnel marketing style content, doing more nurturing, persuading, all of that. It's strictly sales, or it's very inserted in the middle of they've already added the product to cart. Maybe they've started the checkout process, but they didn't complete it, right? That's going to be a very transactional email and getting them to complete that purchase. It's really two things: customer retention. So just making sure that, and then the second part is just really building on that, and that's getting repeat purchases. So that's why this sales channel or this marketing channel, however you look at it, especially the longer you do it, the longer that you've been doing email marketing consecutively, the better ROI you're going to get and the more valuable your list becomes. You educate people about your brand and your products and services. Ultimately, the goal is to grow your business. You're trying to get more sales, more repeat sales. So on the other hand, with, those typically for several reasons, but in a minute, but a big part of it is just the novelty of receiving an email is completely gone. So was just, picky about who we like to get emails from. The typical approach of sending a newsletter is usually some sort of, and these are typically sent, once a month. And a lot of times when companies are sending newsletters, it's just going to be a recap of like, hey, either depending on how much content you put out on social media, and it could be a recap of content that you put out that week from your blog and from your YouTube channel and from your social media, things that hopefully your customers and your leads would care about. And the updates. So when I say content, obviously the email itself is content, but I mean along with some sort of update or some sort of message for that period of time. The reason why newsletters don't, because as a newsletter, it's trying to do too much in one email. There's just too much going on, and you don't have a single focused call to action of email marketing targeted towards specific people who are receiving those emails path. So if you're trying to get them to consume a piece of content that you've created, take the absolute best one or the most relevant one to that particular person or segment that you're sending to this piece of, because if you just list a bunch of things, which one makes more sense for them and how are they going to get excited for that? And you've got all this stuff, a lot of times you're just so busy, you just don't have time to dig through all that. It's like, just get to the point of what you're trying to, communicate here, or what you want to share with me, click through into buy or watch that video or whatever. Newsletters, filler content, they're just really not very good. Someone at the company has been tasked with doing this. This is not their full-time job, maybe their position in the company if they're not the owner, but they don't really enjoy it. They haven't really taken the time to what makes effective email marketing. So they just do this newsletter. It shows because most of the content that's in there is just filler. They're like, oh, we need to give some sort of update, so we'll say this thing, and then we'll just look at the best performing content that we've put out and we'll put it all in there. Cares about all of those different things. It's difficult to understand, and which ones they didn't click on. What happens is, because these newsletters tend to be filler content, stop opening them. They just kind of they do the invisible unsubscribe, where even though they're still subscribed, even open the email every time, but they just archive it or delete it right on the spot. They don't actually go through and read the email. They're busy, and you haven't given them a clear from that email. What you would be better off doing, as opposed to newsletters, the once a week or once a month newsletter, is to actually send out more emails and then send each individual email out to smaller groups of people within your entire list in a way that they're more likely to be interested in the thing that you are having them in the email, if that makes sense. So you're being thoughtful about who you're marketing to, and you're trying to do persuasive, as opposed to, throw a bunch of stuff in there and send it out, but you don't seem to stop and think like, generating any sales, your people just don't like emails or whatever. But I can promise you, whatever industry you're in, especially if it's a really boring, email marketing just doesn't work, and it's just not true. I've seen it work in the most boring, the most random of industries, and of course we all know it, consumer facing, brands and products that are out there. The problem is not strategic and thoughtful, then email campaigns to have good persuasive content that no one cares to read.